one more beverage, and we are really delighted to have Moet Hennessy, the distributors of Veuve Clicquot Champagne, as one of our sponsors this year for the Bayview Mackinaw race. They are also sponsoring the yacht race out of Chicago, but this one is much better, and they say the sales are much stronger in Detroit than they are in Chicago. So we're delighted, and I'd like to thank Keith Knack and David Gingras for sponsoring. And David, would you like to say a few words for Veuve Clicquot? Thank you very much.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Thanks, Bruce. I just wanted to take a minute to recognize the Bayview Yacht Club and Commodores Burton and Burke for allowing Moet Hennessy and Champagne Veuve Clicquot to be a sponsor this year. I think it's a perfect marriage because Moet Hennessy is a luxury goods spirits company, and trying to sell luxury goods spirits into this economy is a very challenging thing to do, to say the least. I've lived that for the last 5 years. But I think this is a phenomenal opportunity because of the historic Bayview Yacht Club, the fact that it's the 86th race. It's a perfect opportunity. All the sailors and boat owners are certainly the target audience that would like to hit with the Moet Hennessy brands and Champagne Veuve Clicquot. So again, I'd just like to thank everybody involved with the race on both ends. Thank you for your support, and I look forward to seeing everybody on the island and sharing a glass of Champagne Veuve Clicquot. Should be a great time, and may the wind be at everybody's back, and look forward to seeing you up at the island. Okay? Thank you.
Another longtime sponsor, AHE Jewelers. You may have heard them. They've been on the radio a bit, and they've been in the Grosse Pointe Woods areas for almost 60 years. Been a longtime sponsor of the Bayview Mackinaw race. They're a sponsor again this year. I'd like to introduce Anthony AHE from AHE Jewelers. Anthony, welcome.
Well, I'm happy to be here today and again be a part of this wonderful event that Bayview has graciously involved us in. And for this year's race, I'd like to present Bruce, if you don't mind, a watch that we're going to be donating to the winner of the race from my family at AHE Jewelers, a Tag Heuer watch. Once again, thanks to Bayview, and hopefully it's another successful event.
Thank you very much. We have a new sponsor, a delicious sponsor, Johnny B Cookies. You see some of the basket of cookies up here, some shaped like flags and burgees and whatnot. It's a new company with a famous proprietor, Susan Muir of Johnny B Cookies. Please come up. We're delighted to have you as our sponsor. These cookies will be going in all the Skipper gift bags, and you're going to be able to sample them today. Susan Muir from Johnny B Cookies.
Hi, everyone. We're really thrilled, Johnny B's Cookies, to be part of this annual event. I know that my family has been, I was brought up sailing, and I was brought up watching my dad go off on Saturday on his boat, and I would follow him on my Mako as they took off, because girls weren't allowed on the boat. So I guess tradition is very important in my life. A few years ago it was taken away. In building Johnny B's Cookies, it's taken 5 years to create a very dynamic cookie company, one that my family would be proud of and one that I'm proud of. So tradition, when it's gone or when it leaves you, you can get it back. You can create your life, you can recreate and readapt. And I think Detroit, it's so important to remind people who have lost their jobs and who have lost careers and have lost their traditions that they can come out of it. There is the ability to adapt and to utilize, like I was a chef, thank God, because I can keep the food tradition going in Detroit. Not, you know, I'm not broiling fish today. I'm not saying that I won't do it later, but I'm doing it through cookies, and I'm really proud that I'm going to be putting cookies on all the boats so I can make all the sailors' days a little sweeter. Okay? So enjoy the cookie, enjoy the day, and enjoy the race. Bye.
Michigan cookies before long, George. You've been a very patient audience. We've got just 2 more short presentations, and then we're going to have some delicious cookies, food, and some of these wonderful beverages. Bayview, as I mentioned earlier, has been said, has been sailing since 1915. We've done the Mackinaw race since 1925. Well, if the walls of this club could talk, there'd be incredible stories to tell about these regattas over the years. Well, the walls can't talk, but fortunately we have a guy who's been covering these races, who's been a part of them for many, many years, a gentleman who's a master storyteller, a broadcaster, and has a great passion and depth of knowledge of this grand race. Please give your attention to an outstanding gentleman, lawyer, sailor, and journalist, Mr. Ted, I'm going to call him Theodore Everingham, my friend Ted Everingham.
Thank you. Only people who are angry with me call me Theodore.
I'm not angry with you, Ted.
Okay, I'll be Ted. I'm kind of the color commentator here for this race. As Bruce mentioned, it was sometime in 1915, 95 years ago now, in circumstances that are hazy in our memories, that 5 gentlemen each put $14 on a table. And that was the beginning of Bayview Yacht Club. Interestingly, none of those gentlemen was a sailor, but we soon became a sailing club. In fact, it was just 10 years after our founding that we sailed the very first Bayview Mackinaw race. The year was 1925. The idea for the race was born in Port Huron, Michigan, in the Harrington Hotel, around a table at an awards dinner for a Port Huron Yacht Club 4th of July regatta in 1923. The budget for that first race, George, the princely sum of $450. A little more than a few of our sailors pay in an entry fee and a little less than others pay. There were only 12 boats in that first race and only 4 of them finished, but they were beginning to sail into something that was long and continuing, a history that continues today. We've raced this race to Mackinaw Island every year, consecutively, every year since 1925. Through the Great Depression, we sailed through war and peace, we sailed through good times and bad. There's a half model of Bernita, the boat that won the first Mackinaw race. It's right here to the right of the fireplace, mounted on the wall. It hangs there by the fireplace, and Bernita also won the race, many people don't know this, 2 years later in the third race in 1927. Over the years, she fell on hard times. And then in 2004, a gentleman who lives on Mackinaw Island found the boat where it had been resting for the last decade in a warehouse in Frankfort, Michigan, of all places, and he bought it. The story continues, but the bottom line is that the boat, Bernita, has been fully restored now. In fact, when we arrive on the island at the end of this year's race, she will be there again in the water, waiting for the rest of us, just as she did 85 years ago, and that'll be a thrill. If all goes as planned, Bernita will be on the starting line for the 87th Mackinaw race in July 2011. So from its decidedly modest start, this race of ours, this Mackinaw race, has become truly one of the world's great sailboat races. You mention this to someone in Shanghai or New Zealand or Hong Kong or all over Europe or South America, and they know this race. It's become our pure Michigan race. This race is surely as much a part of Michigan's culture as the fireworks over the river near the 4th of July, or as the bridge walk on the Mackinaw Bridge on Labor Day. It's part of the fabric of this state. But the message I want to leave with you is that Bayview represents much, much more than this annual trek to Mackinaw Island. As the Commodore mentioned a few moments ago, by the end of the summer we will have hosted 17 major events this season alone. Right here in the river, some on the lake, men and women, match racing, fleet racing, big boats, little boats, 17 events. Surely the pure Michigan Bayview Mackinaw race is the largest and best known of these, but still it's one of 17 races, 17 of the events we do all the time here. You see, at Bayview, sailing is our culture. For decades, our children have ventured out of the harbor, warily at first, to learn to sail in the waters just beyond these doors behind me. Some of those youngsters have gone on to championships at the high school and collegiate level. Some have sailed in the America's Cup. Indeed, our sailors, both young and old, have competed in all of the world's most prestigious sailboat races in every corner of the globe. For example, one of our young men, his name is Bora Golari, was selected as the 2009 Rolex Yachtsman of the Year. That's an honor that's nearly immeasurable in proportion.